Hey everyone, so I haven't done my podcast in a while. I'm so sorry about that. I guess I've been busy mostly just touring, bringing the party to your city, and it's been awesome so far. Now that my tour is over, though, I figured I'd go back to doing the podcast, and I definitely want to inspire you. I was taking a shower and I was just thinking of like what I could talk about in a podcast. And my wife mentioned a few days ago that maybe I should do a podcast entry because it's been so long. Today, I definitely want to talk about, what it takes to maybe have success and like what it takes, like how you frame your life to have that kind of success in whatever you want to do. I mean, for me, it's success as a creative. And like, sometimes you have to think like maybe outside of capitalism and how you approach it. In music, for example, I've noticed that a lot where people will think really hard about how to build connections, how to get your PR stuff out there, how to get a song go viral on TikTok, how to go viral in general. I think they're approaching it sometimes the wrong way. It's not really how you put yourself out there. It's also, do you spend the time to make sure you get the best out of yourself when you're being a creative? Do you make a song, or do you make a painting, or do you make whatever you're making? Do you spend that time, working on your craft, working on getting better in whatever you're passionate about? Are you shifting your life for success? Are you spending the time? I will say this from day one, that talent is highly overrated. Are you willing? It's like, I'm not going to talk about making a sacrifice. It's more about a dedication. Are you willing to dedicate your whole life doing potentially one thing and being really great at it? I mean, we notice it now with WNBA. I mean, Caitlin Clark, very good example. A lot of people are saying she came out of nowhere, but she didn't really come out of nowhere. She's been honing her craft and wanting to be the best at whatever she does for a long time. She spent many hours perfecting her jump shots and perfecting 3-pointers and perfecting, like alley hoops and all that stuff. And now she's seeing kind of the fruit of her labor. And that's just part of spending hours doing what you're good at. Now, yeah, I would say basketball is not like the best analogy because it does require some kind of physical attribute. I totally get that. I could never become a professional basketball player because I'm 5'8", and I would have to be incredibly talented at playing basketball. And I guess it would be possible, but the odds are definitely stacked against you. Now, with music's a little bit different because it's something that you can definitely get really good at. It's not like being an athlete. You don't have to run a specific time when you're sprinting. You don't need to have physical attributes. It's not like, being in the NFL, you have to be really powerful guy. You like a lot of those things are how you're born. And I'm talking from experience too. I mean, I've done so much sports in my life, and I love I love sports, and I played a lot of hockey in my life. I played against some people who became NHL players. Maybe I could have played pro, maybe not in the NHL, maybe in the AHL. But again, since you're relying so much on your body, you don't know if you're going to get injured. You don't know what could happen, compared to maybe a lower impact activity like studying, like making music. That stuff doesn't require you to put so much strain on your body to achieve something. And the thing is, these days, it's like, it's very mind focused, very, very mind focused. I see that a lot with video games. I mean, I love playing Apex Legends. I've put a lot of hours into it. I'm starting to get really good at it because my whole body here is kind of taken out of the equations. I mean, yeah, I have my hands. You need two hands for sure if you're going to be playing with a controller and whatnot. You need, most importantly, your brain, though. You need the learning aspect. And I don't want to put down like sports or any of that, because you do need your brain as well. You need to be smart at the game. But you do need sometimes a special set of attributes, play basketball, playing football, playing hockey, where no matter how much you train your body, you're going to get that, you're going to reach that peak. Now, with so many other things in life, like writing, like studying for something specific, like making music, even though like for me it requires singing, so yeah, that's something I'm born with. But something like your voice can be mangled to sound like however you want. And for specific things like music, which is something like I know the most about, if you spend the hours and you're willing to dedicate your whole life doing that, I don't want to be, what's the word? I don't want to be like hopeful, but I do feel like if you spend the hours doing something like that, you will eventually get some feedback and some benefits from it. And my take is, a lot of people do not succeed in life because they're not willing to spend the hours. They're not, or sometimes they don't have the hours. And that's totally understandable. But if you're really passionate about something, you need to spend the hours to get really great at it and to potentially want to be the best at what you're doing. When I make music, when I'm living this life, I want to be the best at it. When I'm playing a show, I want to give the best show that I can every single time. And that requires a lot of practice. That requires making a lot of sacrifices sometimes. I mean, if I'm playing a show, I'm away from my wife and kids, and it's very hard on me. It's very hard on them. But I understand that that's the journey that I chose in life, and I want to go all the way. I want to do it until I can't physically do it anymore, until you get too old where you're like, oh, I can't hear, I can't sing anymore, something happens to my body, I can't use my hands anymore, I can't walk anymore. I'm willing to do this for the long haul. And that's something that's very, very important when you're doing something creative, when you're doing something you're really passionate about. You always have to look at the big picture. Like sometimes you're going to see some small things happening, and then you realize it's not the small things. It's how are you going to fare long term. And to give the best chances that you can give yourself, the way to do it is by being dedicated every single day at whatever you're passionate about, and by spending the time, by honing your skills, by learning new skills. And that applies to so many things in life. I mean, like nowadays I've been watching Suits a lot, and it's the same thing. Being a lawyer, you're going to spend a lot of times in your books. You're going to spend a lot of times memorizing stuff, getting smart at solving things. You're going to become a good problem solver. And music is the same. You got to be a good problem solver. You got to work with what you got sometimes. And sometimes you're given shit. And you got to work with what you get a lot of times. And you got to maximize what you're getting. You got to leverage what you're getting. And it's always like, do you really love what you're doing? Do you really love it when no one's looking at you? Do you really love it when you get no attention? Because it's really easy to love something when you're getting all the attention on you, when you're getting accolades and you're getting people saying how good you are at whatever. But are you willing to do it when you're in your own space, like I am right now, where I'm not getting like someone just constantly praise me for what I'm doing? When you're, when you're not getting the outside feedback. Now, if you keep going after this, then you know that you're in it for real. And the feedback, the accolades, the money, the fame, the whatever it is, all that stuff is bonus. All that stuff is bonus, and a lot of times that can be distracting as well. And sometimes that can distract you from working your skills and honing your skills, and so that's why I don't always think that positive feedback is always the best thing, because sometimes it's gonna make you hit the brakes, and that's not really what you need to do when that happens. You have to keep pedaling. You have to accelerate. You have to go past that. You acknowledge it. You say thank you. You gotta acknowledge, and then you keep moving. You keep moving. You don't just like stay where you're at, because if you do that, then in 5 years you're nowhere. And that's the goal always with whatever you're passionate about. You have to keep going, because that's something that you wake up every day, every single day to get better at, to be the best version of yourself, doing whatever you're passionate about. And don't forget that, mastery requires time. Mastery requires a lot of motivation, a lot of passion, and you're going to get questioned and challenged on that all the time and every single day. And you got to still show up every day and be like, no, this is what I want to do. This is the most important thing in my life, and I want to see myself self-actualize. And I mean, a lot of times in life, there's not a whole lot of meaning in life, and you have to make your own meaning. You have to create your own meaning. And for me, that's how I do it. Like I do it through my music. I do it through my dedication to my family. I do it through, how I how I present myself outside as a person. Because I mean, it's always, you gotta present yourself in the right way, not be an asshole, not stomping on people, trying to always be the best version of yourself, even if you're not always going to be getting the results, or sometimes the results might not be what you're expecting either. Sometimes you want to be the best version of yourself and stuff goes to shit. But that being said, at least you gave it your effort to do that every single day. And yeah, that's part of being a dedicated creative. That's part of being a dedicated human being, a dedicated positive influence for other people. And I think that's the way to live. So I hope some of my advice helps you out. Like that's really all I'm doing here with the podcast, with my music. It's always to help, to inspire, to motivate, and don't forget, you also motivate people in your own life. Sometimes you don't realize. So, actions have consequences, and you always want to make sure that those consequences are positive ones. And on that, I will say bye, everyone, and I will try to post more podcast stuff. Love you guys. Bye.